Thank you to Clio, Smokeball, and On Task.
It's Legal Toolkit with Jared Correia. With guest Jeremy Poock, we play The Cost is Correct. And then Jared reveals a truth so shocking that it will change your entire understanding of human history. So stay tuned for that. But first, your host, Jared Correia.
It's time for the Legal Toolkit podcast. Excuse me, your balls are showing. And yes, it's still called the Legal Toolkit podcast, even though I lost my butter pick ages ago. I'm your host, Jared Correia. You're stuck with me because Larry Blyden was not available. He's learning some new musical numbers with an angel band. I'm the CEO of Red Cave Law Firm Consulting, a business management consulting service for attorneys and bar associations. Find us online at redcavelegal.com. I'm the COO of Gideon Software. We build chatbots so law firms can convert more leads, and conversational document assembly tools so law firms can build documents faster and more accurately. You can find out more about Gideon at gideonlegal.com. Now, before we get to our interview today with Jeremy Poock, let's preview the topic of law firm sales. Now, I may be going a little backwards here because Jeremy Poock of Senior Attorney Match is going to come on to talk to you about how you sell a law firm, why you sell a law firm, what can you get for selling a law firm. So I'm going to steal just the smallest amount of Jeremy's thunder here and tell you that you ain't going to get a whole lot for your law firm. While tech companies, software companies with subscription services usually sell for something like 10 to 15 times their gross annual revenue, or more in some cases, law firms are selling at a tidy 1x. Yes, one time what your gross annual revenue is what you can expect to receive when you sell your law firm. Not only that, it's going to come out in revenue share over the course of a 3 to 5 to 6 year period. So you're not even going to get paid a lump sum. So you better hope to hell that the business continues to function appropriately, at least as well as it had done in the past, to get that number. That's probably disheartening if you're listening to this and thinking, I can probably sell my law firm for 7 figures, retire to a Caribbean island. So you know why you can't sell your law firm for more than that? And Jeremy will tell you this in a second as well, or actually several seconds. Law firms are really tied to the owner in many cases. I mean, look at the law firms. Like, they're named after the attorneys. The attorneys drive the business, usually through referral marketing, which is a very personal thing. As soon as that person walks away, the business is devalued massively. And not just walks away. I mean, that attorney could stay on and try and help with the transition, but they're moving away from the business. It's obvious to everyone there's going to be a transition. Could be shedding clients like crazy if that happens. It's not as safe a bet as, say, a subscription-based software product. So how can you add value to your law firm? 2 big things, right? One is brand names. During the pandemic and afterwards, all these states that had prohibitions against brand names for law firms, those are pretty much all gone now. So you can name your law firm whatever you want to name it, as long as it's not false or misleading in some way. You got a lot of latitude here. So first thing I would say is, if you want your law firm to be worth more when you sell it, be McDonald's, the brand, and not Ronald McDonald's Law Offices. Okay, next thing, you need systems, turnkey systems. When you sell a law firm to somebody, there's only really 2 pieces of value. One is your name as the attorney and your reputation, which is, again, walking out the door. And then your client list, which, some of those client lists are not well kept by law firms. It's hard to extract those and get value out of them. So having systems in place is great. Marketing systems, revenue collection systems, intake systems. If I can come into your law firm and turn on a system as the purchaser, I'm feeling pretty darn good about myself. So think of your law firm as McDonald's. I use that analogy on purpose. Systematize everything. give people a turnkey system that they can buy into, and the price of your law firm is going to go up. How much? I don't know. Jeremy and I talk about it a little bit, but even if it's 2x or 3x rather than 1x, you're doing pretty good. So how do you go about building turnkey systems in your law firm, which are so important? I got 3 steps for you. 3 levels, I should say, each with their own steps. Level 1, the noob level, the starter level. Build your list if you haven't done it already. Clients, colleagues, referral sources, leads, all in one place, all segmented. Next, build a client journey. How do leads become clients of the law firms? Next, figure out the 10 most common questions you get from clients. That'll be important later. After that, write down your workflows for each case type that you handle. Then, in an associated fashion, tag every task that you do in your law firm, from administrative to substantive. You're like, yeah, that seems like an unconnected list of things to do. Correct. Let's turn to the pro level where you can tie some of this stuff up. If you're not already using one, get a practice management software, which is a relational database for running your law firm where you can implement the workflows that you built. See, it's all coming together now. Then, drill down to a single document repository, one source of truth, and go paperless. Next, adopt a CRM, customer relationship management software, to manage the intake workflow, the client journey that you develop. After that, add engagement tools to your website. Chat, not necessarily intake forms. Scheduling. Get a virtual receptionist service to answer the calls if you can't answer them. Build a level of engagement. Make that part of your system. After that, create a marketing plan and focus part of it on content marketing so you can build a reputation online without having that cost a lot. All right, there's some substance being created here. But what, pray tell, is the final version of turnkey systems in a law firm? Once you built out all that stuff, it's the hacker level. You want to build automations and nurture campaigns. If you got a law practice management system, if you got a CRM tool, if you got workflows for intaking clients and managing clients, now automate that so your staff doesn't have to do it. So if somebody comes in and replaces your staff or doesn't want to use your staff, or maybe you don't have staff to give them because you've got these automated systems, that's going to be of real value to a modern law firm purchaser. Now you're answering all your phone calls, track them. Also track all your lead sources. You've got a system for doing this now. You've got CRM. You could use call tracking software. Make sure that all the data is collected in your law firm. And if you haven't done so already, go full cloud. Everything's in the cloud. Everything's flexible. The law firm could exist anywhere, including in your mind. Next, staff up and build profit centers. Because once you get the systems in place, the idea is that the workflows make you as efficient as possible as a law firm. Then, every time you hire new staff or utilize staff in the existing context, you want them to be profit centers to the highest extent that can possibly be. So if you've got an associate attorney, you want to know what you're paying them, and you want to know with the systems you have in place, what they can make for you. Deliver those profit numbers, deliver those profit centers to a law firm purchaser, you're in good shape. And last but not least, you got systems in place. They're running. You need to analyze how effective they are. If you're going to figure out how efficient your staff is, you need to not just track data, but analyze it and utilize KPIs, key performance indicators. Now, imagine your law firm using the right technology, which is not that expensive, building out workflows and managing them, taking in data and analyzing it. You're looking a lot more like a software company rather than Joe Schmo on the corner running a law firm with a painted wooden sign. You know who's a great salesman for the value of data in a legal practice? Willie Loman? No, Joshua Lennon, who's got you for this week's edition of the Clio Legal Trends Report Minute.
What do lawyers with great client relationships all have in common? They use cloud-based legal practice management software to run their law firms. I'm Joshua Lennon, lawyer in residence at Clio, and this is just one finding from our recent Legal Trends Report. There's no getting around it. The fact is, when it comes to client expectations, standards are higher than ever for lawyers. Proof is in the numbers. 88% of lawyers using cloud-based software report good relationships with clients. For firms not in the cloud, barely half of them can say the same. That gap is significant. For more information on how cloud software creates better client relationships, download Clio's Legal Trends Report for free at clio.com/trends. That's Clio spelled CLIO.com/trends.
Okay, let's get to the meat in the middle of this legal sandwich. Today's meat is slimy. I'll just leave it at that. It's time to interview our guest. My guest today is Jeremy Poock of Senior Attorney Match. Jeremy, welcome to the show, my friend. How are you?
Doing well, Jared. Thanks so much.
I think it's a tragedy that people can't see us right now because you have some badass headphones on. I just want everybody to know, so.
Yeah, we were just saying that, we were going live on this, Jared. I think we'd get 1 million hits on TikTok real fast.
Easily. All right. I want to talk to you about what you do because I think it's really interesting. So you help to broker law firm sales. So how does one get into that? I don't know of a lot of kids who are 6 years old at Christmas being like, hey, when I grow up, I want to be a law firm sales person. So talk to me about the story.
Got it. Thanks so much, Jared. So first, probably should have gone stage right to business school instead of going stage left to law school, okay? So they're a natural-born entrepreneur, get into law school. I don't know how many people have fun in law school. I certainly didn't. I was ready right from day one to be done with schooling. And then when I passed the bar, I remember going to the lawyer that I was working with at the time. He said, Jeremy, welcome to the next 5 years of learning how to become a lawyer. I was like, oh my goodness, thanks a lot.
And, what a nightmare.
yeah, it's right. I thought that nightmare just ended when I actually got the thin. Luckily, the thin is in and actually passed the bar, Jared. And gravitated pretty early on as a young lawyer to working with business brokers. Just have a passion for small businesses generally. Had an introduction from a financial planning colleague, as I remember, that introduced me to a local business broker here in the Boston area where I'm at, and helped them to paper their deals on both the purchases and sales of what we call Main Street businesses, $2 million and less. I really enjoyed working with the business brokers. My mantra with them was, guys, I'm just not going to get in the way. Okay, let's try to get your deals done, get you guys to closing, and got closer and closer with different business brokers and got onto the board of directors of the New England Business Brokers Association, which was fun, and started observing that their focus was on baby boomers, but they weren't brokering any boomer law firm sales. And that's when the light bulb went off, Jared.
That's super interesting. So you did end up using your legal career to get into the brokerage stuff. That was a pathway that you took.
Oh, yeah. Practice law. And I still, Jared, full disclosure, I practice a very little bit still.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, you still do. Okay. Yep.
Very little. I'm at about 95% senior attorney match, and 5% I've been working with a group of people for many years and still represent them. But, it's helpful, of course, when you're brokering law firm sales to be able to understand and feel the pain of, having to be able to review leases, review trusts and estates, little dibble and dabble with litigation earlier in my career too.
I know how much it sucks to run a law firm. Trust me. The other thing that's interesting about this is you ended up focusing on a niche too, which a lot of people end up doing and having success with. So you found that people weren't brokering law firm sales. Wouldn't it be great to have a lawyer to do that? That's really cool.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of opportunity out there. So many lawyers, Jared, they don't realize that their practices have value. And when lawyers are thinking of how do you grow your practice, so many of us just think okay, let's go to the next networking event. Let's write the next blog. Let's, go to dinner, lunch, breakfast, Zoom meetings, of course, now post 2020. But I'm very bullish that that growth by acquisition is here too.
That's super. So one of the things I was thinking about as you were talking about this, I'm sure there are lawyers out there who are saying to themselves, wait a second, you can sell a law firm? That's a thing. So how much of this for you is education also to let people know hey, this business you own is an asset. Just because it's a law firm, that doesn't change the equation.
Yeah, it's a lot of education. And that's why as Senior Attorney Match has been growing, it dawned on me a couple of years ago that we needed to pivot and offer two types of services. So the first type of services that we do is we design succession plans for our clients. And it starts with what we call a next step workshop. So it's a Zoom workshop, and we meet with lawyers, and they ask that question, like, is it really worth something? Like, who would buy it? What is it worth? What's the market for it? And we help our clients realize that yes, there's value. Yes, there are willing buyers out there. And we help them design what it would look like. Who's the right buyer? Is it an internal person, lawyer at your firm, or someone you could recruit in? Or is it a growing firm, a third-party law firm that's looking to grow by acquisition? And then once we finish that design phase and people realize that they have value, and we help point out where the value points are in the practice, then we can actually go to market. Previously, I was going to market too soon, actually, because I didn't know. I didn't want to sound badly, but I was bringing people to market without doing the appropriate research and learning more about what's the value proposition that each of our clients and the lawyers don't even realize necessarily the value proposition that they present to buyers.
I think that's interesting in the sense that, like, you're right, there are two sides to this equation, right? You got somebody who's buying the firm, and they got somebody who's selling the firm, and they need a succession plan. So to what extent does that succession plan involve, like, continuing to work for the firm as the transition happens? Because a lot of law firms, as you know, it's like based on the attorney's personality, their referral network, word of mouth that's developed, and like cutting that person off immediately is not necessarily the best idea. So that succession plan, I'm assuming, involves like working with the new owner and then transitioning out eventually.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Okay.
And the good news for lawyers is, I mean, so many lawyers, Jared, like, they love practicing law, or they love aspects of it. You know, maybe not everything.
They love some of it.
It's intellectually stimulating. I mean, so many of our clients that we speak with, they say, like, listen, I don't play bridge. I like to golf, but I couldn't golf every day. You know, I like coming into the office. I like interacting with clients, or I like writing briefs, or I like writing estate plans. I just can't stand, let's say, managing the office. So to your point, you're exactly right. So many law firms, the value of the firm is the personal goodwill of the selling attorney or the leading partners of a firm. And we're calling this law firm sales 1.0, right? In law firm sales 1.0, for the selling lawyer or law firm to derive the value from their practice, they need to transition their clients and referral sources to the firm that they join, whether that's an internal sale or an external one, because these are not turnkey transactions. We're not selling a Subway, a Dunkin' franchise, or some other kind of widgets-based business. We're selling a business where the clients and referral sources know the senior attorney who's practiced and has been their lawyer or their referral source often for like a generation, if not at least years and decades. So it's very important to transition over, typically, Jared, a couple of years. But the beautiful thing is, and like you and I are stuck here in the Northeast right now, and like winter's a couple of days away, right?
Hey, it's here, isn't it?
yeah, that's right. Yeah, it
feels like 19 degrees yesterday. Yeah, go ahead.
But in the Zoom world, when you're no longer stuck with having to run and manage the office, and you're transitioning clients, you can be in Florida, you can be in California, be overseas, work on matters on your laptop, meet with clients on Zoom, transition clients to new lawyers back at the firm that our clients join.
So just out of curiosity, how do you see this usually going? Is it an internal sale or an external sale? Because I'm guessing it would be fairly hard to like find somebody, bring them into the firm, groom them, because there's a timing component too, right? You don't want to have that person come in too early because they might get frustrated, or come in too late.
Right. So we look at internal sales. We call that the potential option. When we're doing the design. And then we look at external. Joining a third-party firm is really the preferred option. And you put your finger on, one reason why it's only a potential option. That is, if you're trying to recruit someone in, first of all, good luck in today's market, right? It's really hard to recruit talented people.
Yeah.
And then I said before that, I should have gone stage right to business school versus stage left to law school. But most lawyers do go stage left because they're not entrepreneurial. They don't want to run a business. So the internal option is often the potential option, because what the senior attorney, what the seller is looking to do is turn to his or her employees, key employees, and say, you've been my key employee for many years. And how would you like to now be the business owner? And often they will say, oh, well, how did the Red Sox do last night? They just change the conversation. because they really don't want to purchase a law practice, and they can't afford to often either.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's talk about two things.
Yeah.
Like, first, I want to know, like, how do law firms get priced? Because I would guess that you've got lawyers out there who have a really high opinion of their law firms, and they think it's going to sell probably like a tech company that's selling at 10 or 12x. That doesn't happen in law firm sales, right? The numbers are lower.
The numbers are lower for now, and that law firm sales 1.0 that I mentioned to you, where it's so dependent on the personal goodwill of the senior attorney or the senior attorney-led firm, we're not putting values on law firms, Jared. It's just too complicated. And the what if factor, that if something happens to your key person, right? Your key person is often Attorney Jones that has practiced, let's choose estate planning for a moment. And Attorney Jones may be putting up $1 million in revenues a year from his estate planning practice because he's still generating new estate plans. Clients are passing away. So he's doing the probate and trust admins. Something happens to Attorney Jones, there's going to be absolute client flight. So a buyer's really wary to pay upfront money, despite the fact that he's regularly showing, let's say, $1 million in revenues. Even as importantly, if not more importantly, banks will not lend on it, right? Because a bank doesn't know if those revenues are going to continue. And the last time anybody went into a law office, good luck finding any assets of any significant value, right? For them to put financing statements on. So the way that we structure the value of law practices is via an earnout. Our clients, when they're selling, going back to value proposition, their value proposition to a buyer is say, I have $1 million practice in this example. I will deliver my clients to you by working here for a couple of years and transitioning them. We call it trust transfer the trust of the clients to the buying firm. Buying firm, will you pay me, the seller, a percentage of the revenues that come in that are attributable to my clients and referral sources? Buyers love it. Low risk for buyers. Sellers, it's a great way to monetize. To your question, like, what does that mean in terms of how much value we're seeing in the marketplace, Jared? Somewhere in the range of a 1x of gross revenues.
Yeah. That's not too surprising with the business model. Just out of curiosity, you ever see anybody come in with a lump sum and be like, hey, I'm going to buy the law firm for X? Do big firms do that when they acquire small firms? Yeah, go ahead.
So I think we're going to see more of it in what we call law firms 2.0, which is your world, Jared.
I'm already in 2.0. Exciting. Yeah. All right.
I think you are in terms of when firms are more digitized, when clients are coming to firms, not just because, hey, I heard Attorney Jones is the best estate planner in my community, hence I want to meet with Attorney Jones, versus, let's say we've got the Atlantic estate planning firm, okay?
Yeah.
And they
brand names.
are trade names, exactly. So let me answer your question on the lump sum. So the reason why we're not seeing lump sum is because of risk in law firm sales 1.0, personal goodwill for someone like Attorney Jones, and the fact that a bank won't lend on it, okay?
Yeah.
Here's an exception to it, is when there are certain firms that do have repeat customers, repeat clients. So think to ourselves like a condo firm, or that is condo, it represents a number of condo associations, right?
Yes.
And year in, year out, they're getting retainers paid by those associations. There's firms like that, Jared, and they'll represent hundreds of associations. Collections agencies. You represent Blue Cross Blue Shield, Visa, MasterCard. Despite wherever the economy is, you know that there's going to be certain amounts of revenue coming into those collections firms. But somebody like Attorney Jones, in our example, the estate planning attorney, much harder for lump sum.
Yeah. And I think like the point is well taken that if you're going to buy a business like that, where there's so much trust transfer, as you talked about, you got to have that person involved at least to some level for a little while to make that transfer possible. What do you think about non-law firm buyers of law firms? Maybe this is law firms 3.0, right? But you've got alternative business structures happening in some states now. That's probably going to come to more states across the U.S. In 10 years, that might be available in like most jurisdictions. So do you see potentially like companies coming in and buying law firms like a LegalZoom or a Clio or somebody like that? Is that on your radar?
So I'll tell you personally, it's not on my radar because I'm skeptical that it's going to happen.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Talk about that a little bit.
Okay. So I'm skeptical that it's going to happen, and maybe I'm a holdout. We can go back to this podcast 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and I'll be like, Jeremy, egg on your face, for...
Or on mine. We'll see who's right.
For predicting you're going to have non-lawyer owners of law firms. My rationale behind that is the lawyer-client relationship, and that when you bring in non-lawyer owners of law firms and that you have non-lawyers that are sticking their nose into the profitability of the lawyer-client relationship, I think that would result, in my opinion, with reducing the fiduciary relationship nature of the lawyer-client relationship. Let's play out your hypothetical, though. Yeah. Let's assume that you could segregate the two. Okay, let the lawyers lawyer and let non-lawyer money come in, and would that make the law industry a heck of a lot more efficient? Will we have the equivalent of H&R Block for estate planning? Okay, will it make law and accessing legal assistance a heck of a lot more affordable? Okay, I'm picking a lot on estate planning, but I work with a lot of estate planners, and I know
that makes sense as a model that can be productized as well.
But you know, and I know, like the cost of a basic estate plan can be ranging from like $1,000 to like $5,000. And sometimes there's not, I don't want to knock the estate planners out there, Jared. There may not be all that much of a substantive difference.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And if you bring in the H&R Block of estate planning, well, the average American is going to be able to get a will, a trust, a healthcare proxy, a durable power of attorney for probably in that $1,000 range, if not less, because because private money is going to figure out how to make it more efficient.
Right. Yes, absolutely. All right, let's end on this topic. You kind of alluded to this before. I just want to put a bow on this. Lawyers right now who are maybe thinking of selling their law firm at some point down the line, what should they be doing like today to maximize the value of that asset? And you can go ahead and tell me like, this is a model for somebody who's going to retire 5 years from now versus 30 years from now. I'm sure there's a difference. So feel free to riff on that, and then we'll finish up this part of the interview.
Terrific. So let's talk about the 5 years, maybe not 30, but let's go out like 15 years. Okay?
Yeah, that works.
The lawyer who's 5 years out, number one priority is contact, first of all, someone like yourself from Red Cave, okay? And organize your client list. Okay, you and I have talked about this a bunch of times. The biggest asset that lawyers are sitting on are their client lists. Okay, anytime I get into a meeting and talk with lawyers about the value of their business and this law firm sales 1.0, where it's based upon the client list and the referral source list, we can no longer rely upon letting dust accumulate on your clients and maybe send out a Christmas card, once a year. In a LinkedIn world, a Facebook world, a Clio world, like you've mentioned, you can take your clients, put them into a CRM. If we don't know CRM, I'm not going to give it away. We should Google it, okay? Or call Jared.
Yeah, that's a light lift. You can Google CRM.
Yep, and start communicating and connecting with your clients and referral sources, because that is the key to monetizing your practice in law firm sales 1.0, when firms will be paying based upon the revenues that come in from your clients and referral sources. Connect with your clients. And this is always a hard message, Jared, for those people that are 5 years out, but really consider that now is the time to sell. I'm not saying that as a broker. I'm saying it because I see post 2020, and you see it too, that younger firms are digitally marketing a heck of a lot smarter than senior attorneys. And you have your clients and referral sources now, they are going to catch up with you and beat you to new clients. It's already happening. So consider selling in the short term, continue to practice, monetize your practice while continuing to practice instead of waiting too long and your clients diminish. Now, the lawyer that's 15 years out, okay, same advice, okay? But the difference is develop your brand, okay? Develop a digital presence. If you're Attorney Jones and they're coming to you, try to make sure that they're not just coming to you because they heard about you from their friends, their neighbor, their coworker. Establish a presence on Google. Now, I'm regularly saying, and I'm far from unique, I think that Uncle Google, is the number one referral source for lawyers in America.
Yeah.
And that's going to continue.
Oh, yeah.
Just to add on to that, and I'll just say, because we alluded to it before about Law Firm Sales 2.0. In 2.0, there will be fixed price. And fixed price and banks will come in when lawyers and law firms can look at their data analytics and show we have real brand value. We have real digital value in the marketplace. A bank can rely upon that and lend to a buyer, whether that's a law firm or maybe even, Jared, I'm wrong, egg on face, non-lawyer owners, will come in and look at that data and pay real money at a closing table for law firms.
Oh, man. From your mouth to God's ear. That was super enlightening. Can you hang on for the last segment, Jeremy?
Absolutely.
Okay. So we'll take one final sponsor break, everybody, so you can hear more about what our sponsors can do for your law practice. Then stay tuned for the always entertaining rump roast. It's even more supple than the roast beast. What's the secret to running a successful law firm? Building a firm that works for you. That's why Smokeball built its case management software. Smokeball takes care of time-consuming tasks that eat up your time, like filling out forms, building invoices, and even tracking your billable hours, so you can focus on practicing the law you love, helping people, making a great living, and building a truly great life. Visit smokeball.com to learn more and sign up for your free demo. Smokeball. Run your best firm, build your best life. AI document generation is your new smart assistant who can draft agreements and legal briefs in minutes. OnTask's AI document generation lets you focus on your clients. Input your requirements and OnTask's AI generates the polished, professional document you need. Then use OnTask to route your documents for e-signature and other workflows to streamline all your processes. AI with OnTask. Save up to 20% with coupon code GETDocumentAI. Visit ontask.io/AI.
Hey, Guy, what's up?
Just having some lunch, Conrad.
Hey, Guy, do you see that billboard out there?
Oh, you mean that guy out there in the gray suit?
Yeah, the gray suit guy.
Order up. There's all those beautiful, rich, leather-bound books in the background.
That is exactly the one. That's J.D. McGuffin at Law. He'll fight for you!
I bet you he has got so many years of experience.
Like decades and decades. And I bet he even went to a law school.
Are you a lawyer? Do you suffer from dull marketing and a lack of positioning in a crowded legal marketplace? Sit down with Guy and Conrad for Lunch Hour Legal Marketing on the Legal Talk Network. Available wherever podcasts are found.
Welcome, everyone, to the rear end of the Legal Toolkit. That's right, it's the Rump Roast. It's a grab bag of short-form topics, all of my choosing. Why do I get to pick? Because I'm the host. Today, I want to play a little game I'm calling The Cost is Correct, which is definitely not based on any television game show you've ever heard of. So, here's how it works. Jeremy, you price law firms, so I want to see how good you are at pricing some other things. I'm going to tell you how we play. So I'm going to name an item and a price, and you can tell me if it's the exact price, if it's too low, or if it's too high. And if it's too high, you can even bid $1. Okay, I fucking base this on The Price is Right, so sue me. No, wait, please don't. Please don't. All right, Jeremy, you ready?
I'm ready.
Now, the twist is we're going to go back to the future. Because as anyone who listens to this podcast knows, I live in the past, precisely in 1993. So let's talk about historical items and price those. Okay. Number one, Jeremy, the base price of the 1982 Chevrolet Chevette. I'm going to give you the number $5,898. Is that too high, too low, or the exact price?
Can I mimic what the crowd would be doing behind me at this point too, Jared?
Yes, you could.
Too low,
please do.
Too hard, too low, too hard. All right.
Yes, that would be great if you could do that.
Got it. Jared, too high at that price.
What do you think it is? Just out of curiosity.
So remember again, this was a Chevrolet
Chevette, which my family once had, actually.
Yep.
The worst car in the history of cars.
1982, right?
1982 was the first year they came out with that.
$39.95.
Oh, that's a good guess. But that was the exact price, $6,000 for a Chevy
Really?
Chevette.
Wow. Okay.
Which I think is really high, given how shitty a car it was. I hated that car. All right. Here we go. The original Pet Rock. I had one of these.
Man.
Came out in 1975.
Man.
$3. High, low, exact. I'm not going easy on you.
Yeah, that's a stumper. That's a real
That's
stumper,
a hard one.
Because $3 sounds fair. That sounds right where it should be. I think it came in a little lower though. I'm gonna go too high again.
Pet rock, $4. That price was
I'm
low.
over 2, Jared.
Well, you know what's crazy? It's like I was reading up on this before we started. Like the rocks themselves that they put in, it cost a penny for the rock.
I bet. Yeah, they sent some kid from like that. That was like the owner's kids probably says go on the beach and grab him or something. Okay.
Right. And then the straw like is negligible. It's just the packaging. So they were probably killing it at $4 a pet rock.
Yeah, they would have done well in Shark Tank 1975. Yeah.
So you've got plenty of time to redeem yourself.
All
I got
right,
some
let's
more
hope
for
so.
you. The average price of an American home in 1963, $22,000. High, low, exact.
All right, Jared, I hope I'm redeeming myself here. I should ask the crowd again.
Yeah, get some help.
Low, too hard, too low. All right, I'm going against the crowd. I'm going exact.
It's 18,000. 18,000. Just so you know, adjusted for inflation, only $145,000. Not bad. Like, that would be a massive deal in today's marketplace.
It's amazing when you see like parents, right, that have been in the same home for 50 years, what their homes and, have become.
Yeah, sitting on a ton of equity. This is a tough one.
This is proving to be a lot harder.
I don't like to make it easy on people. All right, so we've got a few more here. The first compact disc was sold in 1982. The first commercially sold compact disc. $16. High, low, exact. I had a number of CDs back in the day. I don't know about you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
And cassette tapes.
But when they first came out, I gotta think there was a premium price on that. There's like cassette tapes, which just sucked to like have to fast forward and rewind, and like of course the damn thing would like go off the reel sometimes and stuff like that. And the CD was just beautiful, right? You could just skip ahead and press a
Sound
button.
quality was tremendous,
and it looked good, and it looked good too, right? Just like
looked awesome.
Like your whole Back to the Future thing. It looked like we had hit Mars or something with that.
I think you're thinking in the right direction here.
I gotta go exact.
Okay, you said there was a premium for CDs.
I did say,
in 82.
you give me a hint here. All right, too low.
Too low. $20.
Thank you, Jared.
$20 for the original CD.
All right,
now,
got it.
Do you know what the first CD that was sold was? There's an interesting story behind this.
I'm assuming it's music oriented, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
yes.
what was the year?
Popular music. First CD sold in 1982.
1982. Are the Jackson 5 still around at that point?
That's a good guess. Well, so it's okay. So that's too hard to. I wouldn't expect you to guess that. Billy Joel's 52nd Street was the first CD, and so there are actually 50 CDs that came out at the same time, and 52nd Street was just the one they gave the first number to in the catalog. It was number 1. But what's interesting is the 52nd Street came out in 1978, and Billy Joel had a new album out in 82. Which I think was the Nylon Curtain album. And that's not the one they sold. So, pretty interesting history of the CD. All right, I got a few more for you.
All right.
Next.
You helped me get on the board on that one. Okay.
We can do hints. I'm working with hints. Okay, the Altair 8800 is often referred to as the first personal computer. That came out in 1974. Was the price $400? High, low, exact. $400.
All right, 1974 computer. If that's not too low, then I'm really doing terrible on this game show. I'm going too low on that one.
It's high.
What? For a computer?
Yeah, listen to this. It was $297 for that device.
And what could it do? Would you wait
Nothing.
10 hours to get between like keystrokes or something?
Yeah, it probably didn't do anything. It's probably a glorified word processor. I don't own one. So it's $295. But if you wanted to go up a level and buy the case that came with it, $395. So
okay.
Pretty good deal. All right.
That sounds like
two more.
for that old Commodore. Wow. Okay.
2 more. The original Monopoly game came out in 1935.
Wow.
What did it cost? $1.50. Low, high, exact.
Boy, Jared, this has been brutal for me. That sounds right. I guess
you don't have the worst performance in the history of the rump roast, so don't feel bad about that.
$1.50. I got to go with that one's got to be exact.
It is low. $2. $2 for the original
really,
Monopoly game. Which seems like, that seems pricey.
That does
for
seem
1935.
Pricey. Yeah.
Because that's like Depression.
Era. Yeah, exactly.
You got to play Monopoly. All right, I got one more for you. Last one.
Okay. All right.
It's a McLaren P1, which I definitely don't have in my driveway. Production car. Available until 2015. They don't make these in production anymore. What was the price of that car off the production line? 1.2 million. Low, high, exact.
All right. So, full disclosure, I have no idea what that is.
It's a fancy sports car.
Okay, got it.
Like, imagine probably the fanciest sports car that you could buy.
All right. And the price was
$1.2 million.
All right.
Google this when we're done. My son loves this car.
I want to search for a lawyer. I'll go Google.
Yes,
okay?
yes, absolutely.
But I will not cheat on your show, Jared. I'm going too low.
It is exact 1.2 million.
Jeez. So I got one half answer right on this whole show.
I had fun. These are hard questions. I didn't throw you any softballs.
No.
Thank you for coming on, though. This was fun.
Absolutely. All the best, Jared. Thanks so much. Really appreciate it.
If you want to find out more about Jeremy Poock and Senior Attorney Match, visit seniorattorneymatch.com. That's seniorattorneymatch.com. Now, for those of you listening in Donkeyville, Massachusetts, and the Patriots are playing right now like it's Donkeyville, Massachusetts, I've got a great Spotify playlist for you. Since we talked about pricing law firms in this episode, all of these songs have an amount of currency in the titles. Check it out. Now, I've run out of time today, so I won't be able to discuss my theory on who built the pyramids. Spoiler alert, it was the fucking aliens, obviously. This is Jared Correia, reminding you not to eat berries that you find in the forest. The strong likelihood is that they'll taste like burning.
If you're a lawyer running a solo or small firm and you're looking for other lawyers to talk through issues you're currently facing in your practice, join the Unbillable Hours Community Roundtable, a free virtual event on the third Thursday of every month. Lawyers from all over the country come together and meet with me, lawyer and law firm management consultant Christopher T. Anderson, to discuss best practices on topics such as marketing, client acquisition, hiring and firing, and time management. The conversation is free to join, but requires a simple reservation. The link to RSVP can be found on the Unbillable Hour page at LegalTalkNetwork.com. We'll see you there.